I'm gonna be on here long. I better not be lying. I better not be lying. Today I'm gonna talk about broke, not broken like in I'm broken. My spirit is broken. I'm a spirit of heaviness. No, financially. I came across a young man who was talking about broken, being broke, and I'm a little disturbed by it. I see in 60.
Report live, 7 days a week, always on time, but his time is not free. Sirwalterj Jones, always on fleek. Latest trending topics, had you jumping out your seat. Controversial subjects, others can't touch it. Community full of people throwing rocks from the bunkers to politics, finance, music, and religion. Stirring up the poverty, bring healing to the village. Son named Walter, daughter named Rebecca. Grew up on the south side, who knew it better. Sirwalterj Jones, from the Tribeca. He got something to say, put your hands together.
The water's fine.
Hello, everybody. Sirwalterj Jones show. I'm here. It's the midday connection, baby. Hey, y'all. Let me talk to y'all about this thing about being broke. I'm looking at this thing here. This show. This is Mark the Messenger. He's got 652,000 subscribers. God bless him. God bless his socks off. And it only took me about 5 minutes to get into here to figure out why he says that why God's people are broke. Please wake up. That's his title. Why God's people are broke. Please wake up. And I'm like, okay, now I need to see what's going on here because I want to know why we broke. And based off of his whiteboard in the back, I see number one, idolatry worship. I see number two, witchcraft, evil. Number three, drugs, drunkenness. Number four, laziness, slothfulness. Number five, not keeping the law. Dead giveaway. Now I get it. Really? Is that why Christians are broke? That made no sense whatsoever. That is not why Christians are broke. Absolutely not. None of that has to do with Christians. Christians are broke because of number four. Not because of number one, idolatry, number two, witchcraft, number three, drugs. Drugs can be a problem because drugs can lead you to poverty. Absolutely. But I know some rich people who take drugs faithfully. So I got a problem with that. I got a problem with how he misled you all to lead back into the law. So he obviously must be a Hebrew Israelite. Let me see. I sent this to someone. What do you say? So if you go to Dubai, you're not going to see what you see in American ghettos because that land is righteous. I know they serve other gods and we're not supposed to serve other gods, but they're rich because they're righteous. How can you show as a cornerstone of your thesis statement regarding suffering and poverty, use him as a support of being rich, but leave out the fact that he sat around a whole suffering and scraped the scabs off of his body, and after having lost everything he had, which is in fact was both a mental, physical, and spiritual poverty. Now, this person is responding to this video. You've got to play it to see what he's trying to say here. Okay. And I agree with them wholeheartedly. That is the Jewish Hebrew kind of way to explain why a person is poor. Here's the problem. A person who was rich was looked to as someone being crooked and wicked when I was coming up in the church, even still today. A person who was rich, multimillionaire, multi-billionaires, or just a billionaire, people look at them as using some ungodly things to get that money. That's typical. the way we look at it. So the church look at rich as being ungodly or demonic or something that you did to get that rich. You were lustful and you got it, or you stole it, or you did something. That's the way the church looked at rich. Yet something happened in church history where it flipped. Now it's like God wants everybody to be rich. So then the people who were impoverished was looked down to as something that they did to cause them to be impoverished. They were sinners. This is how he's looking at it. A person who's impoverished is a sinner, or they are worshiping idols. They're not keeping the Ten Commandments or the law of God, the Old Testament law. They're dealing in witchcraft and all kind of things. So they look at people who are sick and people who are poor. They look at those people as someone who has committed some kind of sin, so God is punishing them. So ipso facto, logically, when you look at both sides, nobody can be poor or nobody can be rich, because if you're poor, it's because you're a sinner. If you're rich, you're a sinner. So you've got to be in between. You see how bad Christianity has turned into? You see how bad it is? Christendom more so than Christianity. I believe there's a difference between the two. It's sad. So logically, people are poor and impoverished because of some bad investments that they made. It can be that they are number 4. Laziness, slothfulness. The scriptures and Proverbs talk about, consider the ways of the ant, thou sluggard, who gets up early in the morning. Matter of fact, you never really see an ant sleep. Right? And early in the morning, I don't care how early you are, them ants are out there hustling because they're preparing for the winter months. That's what ants do. The grasshoppers are enjoying themselves and then they die. Okay, it says they have no ruler, but they take care of each other. That is a wonderful depiction. Okay, he was also talking about, you sit up all day and you fold your hands and you take these naps and what have you, and you will fall into poverty. What Proverbs chapter 6, I believe it is. Okay, talking about. So, yes, that is one of the reasons why Christians are poor, because of laziness and slothfulness. Yes, but that is not the consensus of most of the Christians, because many of them do have regular 9-to-5 jobs. They wake up every morning and they go to work, and they work between 8, 9, 10. Some people work 12-hour days, and they come home. And at the end of the payday week, they may make a decent living, even though they may not. Some are middle class. They make a decent living, but they can't afford to live the way they live, because the more money you make, the more you do spend. So a person who's making $80,000 or more, they have a nice car and they live in a nice place. Even if it's an apartment, it is nice, and they have clothes, okay? But unfortunately, they do not have an emergency fund. And the ones who are pulling from the rest of them, is the church, because the church is requiring them to pay a 10% of their income sometimes every week, but every payday they have to pull. So the more people make, the less they will pay a tithe, because tithe paying in America is only between 6 and 10%, meaning that's the percentage of people who tithe. 90% of all Americans don't tithe. So especially if you're making $80,000 or more a year, you're not going to do much tithing at all, because that's a big chunk of money coming out of your check. So the more of the chunk to come out, the more you're like, no, I'm going to just stick with giving a little offering here, a little offering there. So the person is then put themselves in a box, because they're making all this money, and then they go out shopping. And then they really max out their credit cards, all right? And so God help them if they get sick. So then they've got medical bills and what have you. So Christians are just like people who are in the world. You better hear me on this. Christians are the same people who are in the world. Whether a person is considered themselves saved or unsaved, we have the same mentality when it comes to finances. We're not that good at it. We're not that good at it. And the church that we go to don't teach on finances. And when they do, they teach that you got to give a lot of it to that church. Why? Well, because for reasons why I'm tired of bringing up in Malachi. And then there's the offering. And then what the church do is have variations of anniversaries every year. So unfortunately, the church have a pastor anniversary you got to give to. And if you are in a department at your church, you've got to pay a due, and you got to give an extra money for when that department have an anniversary every year. Do you understand? God help if the roof cave in or if there's a leak somewhere, then the church is asking you for more money. God help you if you're a single mother, which, you got children, you got 1 or 2 jobs, then they're asking you for more money. They doesn't care if you are single. The government treats you better than the church because the government will look at your financial situation, and then they will not have you to pay a certain tax bracket, or you don't have to pay tax at all. As a matter of fact, the government will pay you to survive. The church, who's supposed to be better than the government as it pertains to justice and mercy, the government is more merciful than the church because the church requires you to pay. And when it comes to the teaching of tithing in the Old Testament, the tithing, the poor people never had to pay any kind of tithe ever, as long as they were poor. And nobody who didn't have land paid anything. Okay? No one who didn't own land had to give a tithe, which was all food. Okay, thank you, April. Okay, y'all understand what I'm saying? Y'all understanding what I'm saying? So the church is robbing the people, and the government is helping the people and blessing the people. That is something else. So it can be from one extreme to the next because those who are looking for public aid, they will sit on it because they want to come up, but some of them will sit on it for too long, and then the government continues to feed them and for another generation, unfortunately, and they do get lazy. So number 4 is right. The laziness and slothfulness can happen in the world as well as the government, as well as the church. The church is teaching a lazy gospel because all you have to do is when you walk into church on Sunday, you give a percentage to the church, and then one day, they don't really give you a date or a time stamp. One day you're going to have so much money that you'll have no room to receive it. The problem is that that has been quoted at least 60 years of my life. I added some more years to my life. At least 60 years of my life that has been quoted, and nobody tested it. Nobody went back and asked the pastor or whoever it was doing an offering, okay, when does this happen? Because I'm still struggling and I'm still hiding my car because, I owe 2 and 3 months on my car, so I can't afford to keep it. And I'm 3 months behind on my rent and my mortgage. I don't know what's going to happen. And then they keep faithfully giving with the hopes of not having room to receive, and no one explaining it, and no one is challenging it, and they keep doing it, and it is a herd mentality. You just following the trail. You don't even know why the person in front of you is doing what they're doing, but you got to do it because the person in front of them is doing what they're doing. And then there's a psychological trail that we've been doing for generations and generation. Somebody finally wakes up, snaps out of this this hypnotic state. He snaps out. That was me, and walk out of the trail and look at y'all going around. And then my job is to pull some of y'all out of the trail, pull y'all out one by one. Here, you could be a bunker. You qualify to be a bunker too. I pull you out because you don't realize that you're robots. You're going around in a circle, So you're jacked up on both ends. You're jacked up when you wake up and go to work every day, and the government is asking you for something, but at least the government is trying to help you. But yet you can't afford to stay where you are because of the economy that we live in today. The rents are very high. The mortgages are high. Even trying to buy a car is extremely high. Everything is high. Utilities are high. Food is high. Everything is high. And then you go to church and then it's high, meaning they're asking you for a lot that you can't give. So difficult to live today as a Christian. So I call this Christian broke. How can a Christian be broke? It's because of where you worship. Blessing to you, Sheila Mahoney. Thank you for that. Super chat. It's where you worship. It really is. It is where you worship. Where you worship is keeping you broke and impoverished. All right? Trust me, I don't have a whole lot of money. It is difficult some months for me, and some months is very good, and some months is not good. I have to, but I wake up every morning. I don't fool around with y'all all day long. I'm not on the phone, yappity, yappity, yappity. I'm not on Facebook all the time, posting here, posting there. I post maybe once or twice a day. Once or twice a day. That's it. You won't find me looking at on Facebook, looking at y'all's posts and liking and unliking and unsubscribing and blocking all day long. That is a waste of time and a waste of my money. No. I use Facebook for my advantage. It is not just my playground. It is my work. Facebook is my workplace. YouTube is my workplace. All right, that's where I do make my money. So I do engage with people, and I will make a post, and the people will come and look at the post because they're expecting me to talk about it on my show, and my show makes me money so that I can survive and pay my bills. I don't make a whole lot of money, but I get paid just enough money to survive, to make sure the baby girl is taken care of and my grandson is taken care of because they live with me. Now, Rebecca don't ask me for money. Rebecca got her own job, but she lives in my house. And I got to make sure that these lights stay on, the gas stay on, the water stay on, right? And if there's a hole in the roof, I got to fix it because baby girl stays here, right? Even though she never asked me for money, I got to make sure she's comfortable because that's my girl. And my grandson's got to be comfortable, right? And so I get up every morning and I find ways to make money because I'm self-employed. I have my own business, so I can work my own hours. But here's the thing. If I don't work, I don't eat. I can't afford to take long vacations. I just can't. I don't have that. I don't have the kind of insurance you all have it. It's difficult. I mean, I have life insurance because I'm not a fool. I got children and grandchildren, so I have life insurance, and I pay my life insurance first. Before I do anything, I pay life insurance. That's number one. Matter of fact, it comes out of my check automatic. I would not die and have my children crying over me twice. They crying because I'm dead, and they crying because I didn't leave them any money. So you best believe I'm almost worth more dead than I am alive. Don't tell my children that. So I make sure that bill is paid. And then if you see me on Facebook or YouTube, it's because I'm finding ways to make money. I go to bed. Before I go to bed at night, I say to myself, Walter, did you make any money today? Yes, no. If it's no, okay, tomorrow you got to make some money. All right. Okay, you made some money. How much did you make? Did you make enough that will sustain you for the next 30 days? And when all those bills start hitting you in the face at the first of the month, how much money did you make? Okay, you need to make more in March than you did in January. So you got to do more. You got to do this. You got to do that. And so I hustle. So people be hitting me in the inbox and emailing me and maybe calling me, and you're wondering why it takes me so long to get back to you. I don't have time to be chatting with you, chatting it up. You on your job. As long as you on your job, no matter what you're doing, you're getting paid. And you get vacation time, you get sick time and all this other time. I don't get that. So you could be on the phone on your job just chatting it up with your friends. Make sure that ain't me. All right, because I'm not going to be talking to you for an hour, 2 hours while you making money and I'm not making money while I'm talking to you. So some people be getting mad. Well, why? I mean, I hit you up and then it took you 3 days to get me back. Because I'm working, man. I'm working. I don't have the luxury that you have to sit at home and just yap. I've got to survive, and I'm trying to build up a generational wealth for my family. Yeah, they all grown, but again, I need to leave an inheritance for my children's children. I strongly believe in that. That generational wealth transfer is getting ready to happen for me. I'm almost 60, and it's time for me to transfer my wealth over to. If I don't have any wealth, if I didn't build any wealth, I can't transfer nothing to my children. I just can't. All right. My father transferred his wealth over to me. All that land that he owned, that's mine. And he's still alive because he knew that it was time for him to transfer that wealth over to me. His father did the same for him. You understand? So my children got to build up, got to take what I gave them, plus what they are building up. And when they turn my age or maybe younger, they've got to transfer their wealth over to their children. This is how it works. And when you don't understand that, the church is not teaching wealth transfer. The church is teaching to be very lazy. Lazy. You go to church, give your money, put it in the bucket, and God's going to open up a window, pour you out a blessing you have no room to receive, and then it don't happen because you're sitting at home lazy, waiting on God to do something based off of this one thing you did at church once a week. You're lazy. So this is why Christians are broke. All right? This is why you're broke. So at least take some money and put it away for a rainy day. They've been singing that song since you've been alive. All right, put something away for a rainy day. The pandemic came and it showed us how we all were swimming naked. We couldn't afford to survive. And people who thought they were well off realized they were not well off at all, because all it takes is for you to lose that one job and you will lose your car, your house, your apartment, and whatever else you bought on time. You lose everything because you are banking on one job. That's not right. No, it's not right. Now, some of you can't have multiple streams of income. You just can't because you work so much on your job. But if you are not downsizing, you're going to find yourself being in a problem when the economy crash again. The crash is coming again. It's going to be a great crash, and you're not going to be ready. You're just not going to be ready. So you need to have an account that you got at least 1,000 in there. You got to have at least 1,000 in there, but you should have about 3 to 4 months of your income in there so that you can survive, so you can be looking for a job, so that you can be paying your mortgage on time, your car notes on time, so they'll be paying you. Don't be depending on some forbearance from the bank. The bank don't have to forbear nothing for you. When the pandemic came and people were losing their jobs and the government was shut down, I called my car loan company and said, do you do a forbearance? And they were like, no, we do not. We do not. Now, here's the thing. I was still making enough money during the pandemic to continue to pay my bill. I was just trying to figure out if there's going to be an option. Is there an option for me to forbear? Because I didn't know what the pandemic was going to do. I didn't know if it was going to be so bad that I was going to start losing stuff. So I asked them, is there an option? They said, no, we don't have that option. You got to pay. We may give a grace on 1 month here, but we just don't do it. I'm like, okay, thank you. Click. I didn't make no deal. I didn't will with them. I just kept paying the bill, kept paying it, doubled up every now and then until I paid that car note off. I paid it off. You hear me? I paid it off early, paid that sucker off. I didn't want that burden, because the more I was paying into that debt, that car, I wasn't able to put into my emergency fund. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I doubled up, paid it off. That way the interest won't keep hitting me. So the more I paid and doubled up, that lessened the interest burden on me. And so I was paying more into the premium. I paid that premium off, which lowers the interest, and then I paid it off. And now with the car note that I would normally have, I put that money into the stock market, into the exchange, into the S&P. And I take some of it and put it into the emergency fund. So if I say to my children, hey, y'all, I'm broke. Well, I'm not really broke. I just don't have any money that I'm going to spend on anything, because I'm not touching my saving, my emergency money. You understand? If something should happen in this house where I need the money, I'm still going to find a way to make money and not touch that emergency money. You got to know, you got to come up with a decision on what you're going to do with that emergency money. What is an emergency? How is it defined? How do you interpret what is an emergency in your life? In my life, that emergency is an emergency, a real emergency. You understand? So if a pipe break in the house and I don't have any money, I'm not going in that emergency fund. For me, I'm going to just go and do something where I can make some money real quick. Even if I got to get in my car and turn on the Uber app and get a couple $100 for a day or two. And then I didn't pay the man to fix the pipe. You understand? And I still got that emergency money sitting in the bank account, which is collecting interest. It depends on your reason why you. Now, if I have to pull from the emergency fund, I know that I got to put that money back. This is why so many people who have whole life insurances and what have you, and they were borrowing money from the insurance, but they were forgetting that you got to put that money back. So when a loved one did die, you went and said, all right, we're good. We've had life insurance for 40 years. And then you go and look in there and realize that you don't have any insurance. You don't have enough money to bury the person because you had borrowed money from against your life insurance and you never put it back. That's number 4, laziness and slothfulness. You understand? So you've got to have a better financial, a big brain that Donald Trump would say. You really need to think about this for the future. Stop thinking about the past or the present. You need to think about the future. Because if you're not thinking about the future, you're going to lose in the future. Are y'all understand what I'm saying? Yes, paid cash for car after the accident with money from car insurance. So I haven't, no, come on. So, I like that. so unique. That's nice. That's nice. They say plan for 6 to 12 months. Yep, because this one is going to be devastating. You better believe it. Catherine Hu began her ministry and promised God would never demand from God's people. She did this till she passed. The people gave freely from their hearts. All right, Lucille. I keep telling people, if you tell the truth, the people will give. Tell the truth. He's a magic. Rachel Jackson, how you doing? Yeah, all right. So I'm trying to tell y'all, this is how it works. Get you an emergency fund. Pay yourself first. You all are caught up in this whole tithe thing? Fine. Listen, do what you do, booby. Whatever you need to do to satisfy your church, do what you do. But if you're not paying yourself first, you are a foolish person. If you're not taking your check, every paycheck, and pulling money out and paying yourself first, which is one of the tithing. There's 4 ways of tithe in the Old Testament. One of them is called the festival tithe. That tithe go to you. So if you're going to do the whole tithe system and you're not paying yourself, you are a foolish person. You better hear Sir Walter, hear Uncle Sir. If you're not paying yourself first, you are a foolish virgin. You one of the 5 foolish virgins. Every time somebody gives me some money, I peel a little bit off and put it over there. And don't touch it. I lock it and put it over there. Don't touch it. That ain't my money to spend. That's not my, I have no liquidation. I'll say, listen, I can't afford it. I have no liquidation. There are millionaires who have to go to the bank and borrow money, but yet they're millionaires. But they're not millionaires in liquid form. They're millionaires in ownership, in land and property and stocks and bonds and all these other things. So they cannot liquefy it. So they got to go to the bank. They need to go to the bank to survive, even though they're millionaires. You've got to think like a millionaire. Don't go selling stuff to liquefy stuff because you're going to need it down the road. And this is how African Americans became well off through real estate and land ownership, because they were able to borrow against what they own. You understand? So they can walk up into any place and say, I need some money, and they've got all this behind them. You understand? So you hold on to what you have. Don't go down there to the pawn shop and pawn stuff, which I did and which got me into poverty. Pawn shops got me into poverty, got me into, and one day I'm sitting in jail because I was impoverished and got myself in further and deeper impoverishment because I'm farting around with these payday loans and these pawn shops and what have you, trying to survive. It was the dumbest thing that I could do. But I was younger and foolish, and I was desperate at the same time. All of that was a perfect storm. I woke up, you better believe. Get your behind up. Find ways to make extra money. All right. If you don't have a job that you work at 12 hours, then find a couple hours in your day to do something, build up something, have another stream to lean on so that you can put something away. All right. So I was Ubering, plus I was writing music, plus I was doing my shows, plus I was writing books. Okay. And then YouTube was paying me this. Okay. I had several during the pandemic. I had 5 and 6 streams of income during the pandemic. It still was difficult. People were like, wow, you got 5, 6 streams of income. You should be doing real well. Well, it's only me working them, though. You can only put so much time in each of your streams. Do you understand? But I at least had about 6 streams. that I was working with so that I could fall back on something. All right. But if I got sick, 6 streams would die. If I got sick, 6 streams died. So what I had to do was recalibrate my thinking and say, now, if I get sick, at least a couple of the streams I can work so hard on that when I'm sleeping, that stream is making me money. So one of the streams is obviously writing books. So I would write these books so that I can write one book, and that book can suffice me for several months and several years off of one book. That is making money while you sleep, but that's only one book. And number 2, you've got to have advertising money to do that. You got to have a marketing plan to keep the income coming in, because once you sell your books to a certain demographics, they're not going to buy the same book again. So you got to keep bringing in new customers, introducing them to the book so that people can come in and buy the book. All right. So yes, Amazon pays me a royalty check for my 3 books that I have there. How many books I got? I don't even know anymore. All right. I have so many books that I write. So that is a stream of income, and it's called passive income, where I can be sleeping, making money on the books. But that's only a small percentage of my income. So I've got to find another way to look at this stream here and boost it up. Well, this stream may require me to work it every single day. Well, that's the stream I'm working right now on YouTube. You guys are going YouTube, and there's a commercial that plays, and the commercial pays YouTube, and YouTube pays me because you watched it. So for people who can't give to the Cash App, you all watch the commercial. If you watch the commercial, that pays me. That's how some of you who can't afford to give anything to content creators watch their commercials, and YouTube will pay them if their channels are monetized. So I have to really work hard on the YouTube stream because I've got to continue to do what I do. Some days I just don't. Some days y'all don't hear from me for days and days and days because I'm not that guy trying to chase money, and my health is not that great. So I got to eat right. I got to rest right. I got to work out. I got to spend time with the family. So I'm not like some of these content creators who are on 2 and 3 times a day. Y'all know that ain't me. Y'all rarely will see me come on twice a day on YouTube or Facebook. Y'all know that ain't me because I believe in taking care of me and my health and rest. So I'll go live at least it's 7 days in a week. I may go live 4 days a week. It used to be every single day for 2 hours. But I pulled it down. I pulled it back because I'm not going to kill myself for the few YouTube dollars that I do get. Y'all understand what I'm saying? All right. And music wise, well, I know how to write a song to make your mama cry. You know, I know how to teach what I do, teach piano, what have you. That's how I made my money in the early days, is through music. I did a pretty good job, but I put that on the back burner. I don't do music anymore. I don't focus on making money on music more. And I can right now make a killing on it. But again, I won't have time to do this. I won't have time to write. All right. So you may look at I have 6 streams, but again, who gonna work those 6 streams? I don't have a crew that can go into my mind and know what I'm going to say and do before I say it on some of the streams. I have an amazing crew here of moderators who really help me with the things that I do. Absolutely. They are a blessing to me. But it's only so far that they can go. They're not in my brain. So they don't know they don't know what God is saying to me in the shower. They don't know how I'm going to direct this and how I'm going to go here. Most times they don't know if I'm going to ask them to bring up a video here. I do that live while I'm talking to y'all. Hey, by the way, I'll go to Rogers or somebody and say, hey, can you? All right. April and Carol and who else? We've got Brother Dat Beats is part of us. Okay. These moderators, we have our own little group that we talk about things that we can do to improve the Sirwalterj show. So they're helping me, but there's only so much they can do. So you can't be lazy. So his number 4 is true. Laziness, slothfulness, and sleep here is what he's saying here. Other than that, he's a Hebrew Israelite. So why are Christians broke? Because in some cases you want to be broke. In some cases you want to because you're too lazy to get up and be like the ant. All right. Some are just too sick. They can't do it. So we have to help them, be a blessing to them, and take care of them, because Jesus said the poor will be with you always. Everybody's not going to be rich. Everybody's not going to have a job. Some people just can't do it. So this is why the church was set up, to take care of the people, the poor people, those who are downtrodden, those who are sick, and those widows indeed whose husbands died. They have no children to take care of them. So this woman is needing the church to take care of her. So the poor are in place for the church to take care of, not to fatten up your pockets on these prosperity teachings. All right. Outside of the poor and the impoverished who can't make any money because either they're too old or they're too sick, or something happened where a catastrophe came in, a thunderstorm or a tornado or an earthquake or tsunami, something came in and wiped out all of what they own. All right. Those people must be taken care of by the church, and the government have a responsibility as well. Outside of those exceptions to the rule, the rest of the Christians who are broke is because you want to be. You want to be. You don't. You literally have a car and a house and an apartment, and you got nice clothes, and you don't have an emergency fund. Something's wrong with you. Something is wrong with you. This is why you may be broke. All right. This is why you may be broke. You need to rework that. Work ethic has to be practiced. Come on. All right. You gotta rethink this thing on poverty. Your church is keeping you impoverished, and maybe the political party that you're in is keeping you impoverished too. Maybe depending on which party you are, but if you're African American, typically you all are Democrats, keeping you impoverished. No, that beats one is Monkey Moves is one of our moderators. He's our new moderator. That beat one is also, he's not a moderator, so thank you for that. He's not a moderator. He's actually helping me with my music. That beat one. So that's why I brought him up. Monkey Moves is, I think I saw Monkey Moves. Is he here? I think I saw his name in the comment section. I think he here. Monkey Moves, you here? Okay. All right. So I didn't want to go long. What time is it? It's 37 minutes. I'm 7 minutes over. So I'll shut it down. Yeah, that one beats. So that beats one. Y'all know he has a real name. It's Dwayne. There he is. There's Monkey Moves right there. Monkey Moves got a real name too. He just won't tell us. I don't know why he won't tell us his real name. Okay, y'all, I'm going to be on the Corey Minor Show tomorrow at 5 o'clock Central Standard Time. Tomorrow, turn on the Corey Minor Show. What's it called? The Smart Christian Channel. All right. Monkey Move's name is Jeff, y'all. Y'all got it now? It's Jeff. It's Jeff. I have several Jeffs that's in my circle, so that's not going to be hard to remember. Monkey Move's name, Jeff. Jeff the Monkey Move. Hey man, where did Monkey Move come from? Tell us your history. We got time. Where did Monkey Moves come from? We want to know. Cause we sure like you, boy. We like you over here. I think Monkey Moves. I think I found him over there at the Smart Christian Channel, and I just I don't know. I just like him. I like him. Just cool dude. I never knew that. Yeah, see, Perfect didn't know, and Perfect is one of the. Are you moderator over there at the Corey's channel too? I think you moderate over there. I can't remember. All right, so I'm blessed. My channel was going to a gaming channel. Okay, but I scrapped it. See, we didn't know that history about him. It took us this long. If I didn't ask, we would have never knew. That's all right. Okay, you are a moderator. All right. So moderate our show tomorrow. Corey and I will be on at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we're going to be very transparent and talk about this situation with him being barraged by Seiko Woods. All right. I want to talk to him. I want to know what's going on. Both he and Seiko are my friends. And I want to know what's going on. Why is this going on? And I don't know all of Corey's story and the legal woes that he had. I don't know the full story. I never asked him. He's been on the show before. I've never asked him. I'm gonna find out tomorrow though. I want receipts. I want to see it, brother. So I'm gonna drill him tomorrow. What's going on? Why are you being attacked like that? What did you do and what did you say? And how could we get your story out so that I'll know my community loves you and we want to know what's going on. Because I had Seiko on the show. I had him on the show. We talked about him, and I want to talk. So I want to get to know. I want to get to know Corey a little bit more. All right. So y'all pray for us tomorrow because it's gonna put him in a vulnerable state. It's gonna put me in a vulnerable state too because I'm gonna let him let his audience know some of the things I had to endure. Okay. So we can't be afraid to talk about some things. I'm not saying Corey's afraid, all right, because he's gonna do it tomorrow. But we got to open up to the people. One of the worst things you could do as a pastor is hide your story. One of the worst things you can do as a pastor is hide your story. Tell your story so that somebody don't have to tell it for you. When they tell it, they're going to tell it wrong. They're going to tell it wrong. The bunkers know I tell my story. Matter of fact, some bunkers will say, you tell too much of your story. You tell too much. But I've been blessing people for years by telling my story because so many people have gone through my story. So tell your story so somebody else won't lie on you about your story. You can bring receipts, or there's some things you don't have to say because there's things I've never told bunkers and you will never hear because some of that's none of your business. It's just not. But I tell my story. So tomorrow I'm going to ask him, tell your story just one time for us all. Just tell your story as much as you want to tell us, and then we'll all know now how to pray. How to pray. So he's willing. If he's willing, I'm willing. And then we can shut it down. And if anybody else come after you with more stuff, you tell them to refer to the show we did together. We all got it out on the table. And thank God for deliverance and healing and forgiveness. And let's move on with our lives. All right, tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we'll talk to my dear friend Corey. All right? Find out, are you okay? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Tamika, yeah, he did. I wasn't around. I don't know all his story. I don't. All I know is those two men are my friends, and I know Seiko's story. I don't know his, and because he's willing to talk about his story to my audience, the bunkers, we're gonna talk about it. All right. All right. So I know some people may not feel comfortable us doing it, but that's his story, isn't it? He not being forced to do that. This is what he wants to do. And I want to do it with him so that we could squash this and pray and move on and get back to preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ. Y'all understand? That's the whole, isn't that why we've been called? We've been called to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. Period. There's a list of men and women that I've gone after. In fact, Rogers, if you would make me a list, if you could make me a list for tomorrow of all the men and the women that you can think of that I've gone after and I've corrected on my show, I want to see what that list looked like. And then you're going to see how far it was in between those people where I went right back to preaching and teaching the gospel. Because I ain't the guy to focus on one man's sin, Freudian slip, what have you. If I talk about Lovey today, You won't hear me talk about I love you for a while. And he would make some mess ups all that week. And the next week, nope. I pick my battles. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about one guy. It's called the Sirwalterj Show, and we talk about how can we understand the scriptures better. We talk about politics. We talk about finance. We talk about social issues and husbands and wives. And we talk about single people. We have a plethora of things that we talk about. Corey focuses on the Bible more so. I focus on every aspect of life, but I always tend to go back to the scriptures, even if we're talking about politics or relationships or sex or gender issues. I keep going back to the Bible with it. You understand? So it's not just Bible study. We talk about everything and bring it back to the scriptures, and then we pray and close it down. You see? That's what you're called to do. Be a help to the total man. That's what your job is. And we do our financial shows. We even bring up scriptures on finance. Jesus gave the parable of the talents. That is finance. It's one of the great financial examples we have in the scriptures about investing your money into the market. You are afraid of the market because you think it's gambling. But yet I saw you standing in the gambling line when you went, because the number, I think it was, the lottery was $1 billion. So the ones who were talking about the stock market is gambling were the ones standing in line because that ball said if you get the right numbers, you get $1 billion. And the Saints were standing in that line, even though your chances of winning is 1 to 300 million. Yet the stock market, yes, gambling. But yet, the stock market never fails. It has ups and trolls and dips and ebbs and flows. All right, it goes up and down, up and down, up and down. But without it, the people who are in it understand how the beasts work. And the average person who know to go in it for the long run are the ones who retire with a nice nest egg to live on until they die. That's what the stock market do, and we don't really know any other investment that does that other than you might have put your money into something that may have been a higher risk, like opening up a business or something like that, or buying into some franchise, what have you, all right, which may work or may not work. But the market, doesn't matter how much it may dip that year and 2 years dip in a row, you keep putting into it, it always rebound. Since the stock market come on the scene and was invented, it has always rebound. Always. It is the most sure thing that we have in investment. Sure is. But y'all are scared of it because you wasn't educated on it. So you called it gamble. Your pastor called it gambling. But you're gambling when you go to church and put money in a tithe bucket with the hopes that you're going to get a great return. You never see that return. You never go back and ask the question. You never challenge it. You're going by the hypeness of the message that was given. You're gambling. And so then when something happens, you can't go back to the church and ask for some kind of return or for a loan or for a handout because they say we don't have it. But I put the money in here. You should have it. No, we don't have it. It's gone. You can't do that. But with the stock market, you actually can. You can. All that money I put in that market, all I got to go do is go to my brokerage account. That money I put in there, it might be less money than I put in there. But guess what? Eventually that money going to rebound. It's going to be more money than I put in there. Maybe the next year or two, it's going to be more. It could be double, triple what I put in there. You know, it goes up and down. At least there's something in there. You can't say that about the church. You cannot say that about the church. Now, ain't that sad that the government treats the saints better? The market treats the saints better. How is the church not treating the saints better? This is why they will not allow me to preach nowhere. Thank you for your love, God. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your blood. Thank you for all you've done for us in this. I pray for these people here. I overtalked a little bit, but I got it out, so I don't have to go live tonight. So thank you, Father, We love you. We thank you. These people, they lazy. And the prayers go forth and say, God, help you to be less lazy. And you're saying, no, you take one step, and I'll take the next one. These saints are leading you to be the puppet in the sky, and they turn the wheel, and then they get this money and all this stuff out, and energy and blessings. That's not how you work. Your faith, the gift that you've given us is faith, and we can activate in that faith and get the things that we need. But you also are practical, God. Get up off your lazy behind, get out there and work, and make a decent living, and come home, and then say, God, thank you for helping me to endure and not trying to remove mountains out the way. Don't move my stumbling block, but give me the strength to climb. we love you, God. We give your name the praise in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, y'all. Take care of yourselves. See you tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Don't be late, all right? If you're going to call me late to anything, make sure it ain't lunch, which I have not had yet. Oops.
Fellas, does it seem like you can't get a good woman? Ladies, wonder why you can't keep a man? Then read The 4 Women That Men Desire, Volume 1, by Sirwalterj to figure out how to break the cycle. Go to Amazon.com to get your copy today.